Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorcycle Rewind, and I want you to stop buying vintage motorcycles. And I know I said earlier I want you to stop buying vintage motorcycles. I want you to stop buying them without doing research. So guys, if you're anything like me, you're on Marketplace, Craigslist, wherever you go, Moto Nexus, bring a trailer, you're on everything trying to find the motorcycle of your dreams, or just the one you can afford. And you're scrolling through, you're on it so much, you know what I mean. Your wife's already told you to stay off of it. Ooh. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, look at the pipes on this one. Ooh.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm watching porn.
Oh, well, at least you're not on Marketplace.
You find a motorcycle you want. Before you start messaging them and to get into that buying conversation, I want you to just take a breath. Just take a deep breath, open up another browser tab, and do some research. The first thing I like to research is, let's say I'm looking up, let's pick one. Oh, you were just watching the latest episode of Bearded Mechanic and you saw a Suzuki RE5 and you go, wow, a rotary engine. Well, let's use that as an example. So we'll just Google Suzuki RE5 and then I pop in eBay after. I want to know how many parts are available. How many of these have been broken down, have been dismantled and sold for parts? And we all know that every one of these motorcycles has an unobtainium part. I like to sort by condition. I like to click on used. It's only going to show me all the used parts. And that's what I want to look at because that's going to show me how many of these have been broken down, like I mentioned before. That's the first thing I want to do. And because I guarantee you there's a big difference for the number of Suzuki RE5 parts out there as there are for the number of Honda CB350 parts. What you're looking at. Because you can find this motorcycle, but if you can't find parts, then you just got a broken motorcycle. So the other thing, this is before I even go to look at the motorcycle, the other thing I want to do is I want to look for our service manuals and owner's manuals available online as PDFs for downloads. I need to find out, am I going to be able to find the information to be able to work on this motorcycle? So the first two things, are parts available, and two, can I find the information? Do some research before you get into it. Now I'm in front of the bike. A scale of 1 to 10. 10 being perfect, 1 being it was at the bottom of the ocean for the last 10 years. Don't get so emotional about it and say, oh, I love this bike, it's going to be great, you're excited about it, maybe it's the one you've been looking for. So kind of pause, hold back a little bit and give it an honest assessment. What is it going to take to get it to the level I want? Before you go, if you've seen the photographs, you should be able to identify what pieces and parts are missing. And while you were searching for it on eBay, you should have already identified what those pieces and parts, how readily available they are, and two, what's the cost of them. Because you don't want to find that out after the fact. I'll give you a great example. The first Honda Matic we bought for Carrie, I bought it, it was cheap. It was like 400 bucks and it was rough. To come to find out that the stator on it is a 1 year, 1 model only. It's only on this one. They had 3 other models of the CB400 that same year in 1978, but this stator is only on this model. And guess what? They're unobtainium. Know that. I ended up having to get rid of that motorcycle because it wasn't worth it to bring it to the level that we're at now. It would have cost me more just to get it running than it was to buy the motorcycle that we bought. What pieces and parts are missing and have a value of what that is before you even show up. Now my negotiating power is a little bit better. Does it have a key? If you're like me, I buy a lot of garbage. I buy a lot of people's trash. Right? Sometimes they don't have a key. I've already identified one, if there's a key code on it, or what's it going to cost to replace the ignition. I've already figured out that, so I know what that is. But then I also know when I get to it what I will be able to do and what I won't be able to do. Understanding that when you show up, it doesn't have a key. It's going to cut off a whole bunch of stuff. So again, we're still in front of the motorcycle. Does it turn over? Does it turn over? Can you kick it with a Kickstarter? If you have a model that doesn't have a kickstart lever, can it turn over? If you don't have a key, you're not going to find out. There's a workaround for that. You could bring a jump box with you, which I highly recommend. If you have a portable jump box, I highly recommend you bringing that with you. And if you can easily get to the starter, you could put some power to it, see if it turns over. Again, if it doesn't, you either don't buy it, or two, you get a drastically reduced price. The more informed you are about the motorcycle you're looking at and at the projected cost it will to repair it, the better decisions you're going to make. Let's be honest, we've all made some bad motorcycle decisions. We're trying to avoid those. What's the condition of the tank? Pop it open. Again, if you don't have a key, some of these tanks you won't be able to get into. So you're going to have to guess, right? Hope and pray that the tank's going to be good. I had a neighbor of mine that bought a CB175 and didn't realize that the entire bottom of the tank was gone. It was not there. Tank looked great from the top side. Tank looked really good, but it was completely rotted out. So it's understanding that. Look up underneath, feel up underneath, see what's there or not there. Better to find out before you hand the guy the cash than when you're pulling it off the trailer. The next one is popping the seat up. Let's look under the seat. The main thing we want to look at under the seat, two things really. I want to look to see, is the bottom of the seat just rotted out? The seat cover will hold it together. If you're missing a key, this is some stuff you can't look at. So you're going to have to, hey, I can't check underneath here to see what it is, so just know. But the other thing that you're looking at, condition of the wiring that you can see that's under the tank. Has there been families of mice living in this thing and eating on all the wiring? Better to find out before you hand over the stack of cash than it is after the fact. So does it roll? Are the wheels in good shape? If they're spokes, are they rotted through? We know that 9 times out of 10 you'll have to buy tires. But what condition are the overall wheels in? Does it roll? Do the brakes work? Checking the brakes. If it's got a disc brake up front, unscrew the cap, see if it still has juice in it. Just do a thorough inspection. Your exhaust. Checking under the exhaust to make sure it's not rotted out underneath. The top side will look great. Remember, the water hits and rolls over. If water gets inside of it, it sits and just rots out. Mice get inside, they make a nest in there, they rot out the bottom of it. Bring a towel, some hand wipes, so that you can clean up after. But just know that you're going to have to touch every part of this just to make sure that you're making better decisions. The throttle. Does the throttle work? Are the carbs seized? Again, we know we're going to clean them, but how much are we going to have to clean them? If you have a key, we'll show up with a jump box. Hook it up. Let's see what happens when you turn the key on. What kind of power is there? Knowing that, let's be very clear. If the more life it shows before I hand over the money, I'm building value on their side. I want to see how good it possibly could be. So if I turn the key on and I've got lights on the dash, hit the horn works. At that point, I'm going to check everything. Hit the starter button. If it rolls over, I'm good. And if you want to even go a step further, I'd bring a spark plug wrench with me. I'd pop one off, or just bring an extra spark plug, pop one on, hit the start button, see if it gets spark. If it does, you're good. If it doesn't, you're still good, because now you've got negotiating power. It doesn't have spark, so who knows what I'm going to have to do. We know you're probably going to have to clean points, things like that, but let's understand that. Again, if I don't bring a jump box with me, I'm just hoping it does. But let's do a little bit more due diligence, if you will, and be very purposeful during this inspection so that we're making better decisions. I know I've ended up at home with motorcycles that I thought there was more of them when I left, just because I didn't do more. I didn't do the work that I should have done. What's missing from it? Identify the missing parts. And even before you get to in front of the motorcycle, hopefully you've identified through conversation with the owner or the seller, you've identified what pieces and parts are missing, and you already have a value of what that is. You put that with what you want to pay for the bike, now that's what you're paying for it. Stop buying vintage motorcycles until you do the research, so that you're making better decisions and you have a better overall experience. Because I've had too many people reach out to me and about their motorcycles that maybe they should have asked these questions or looked in these areas before they handed over their cash than after. So guys, I want to thank you for watching yet another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. And do me a favor, like, tag, share, and follow us on Instagram at Motorcycle Rewind. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks again, guys, and have a great day.
Might as well take one of these.
He was just ready to come with me. Hey, Cappy. He was just ready to come with me, and so we're figuring out. Maybe you guys have seen him in the background every now and then, but this genetic specimen is Cappy. He has about had enough. Cappy, been a good trip? What you got? What you got? Anything to say? Nothing? You got nothing? We're almost home.